Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Android console by Catz, the M.O.J.O. Now, first things first, this console, it really confuses me. On one side, it's a really good console, and on the other side, it really lets me down. I won't want to say it's a disappointing console because there's a few elements that really rescue it, but considering this is a console that a lot of people will be wanting to play all their Android games they have on their phone, say, on a bigger screen, this does not deliver. And straight up, I just want to say that you probably, if that's what you want to do, you probably don't want to buy this console. Now, saying that, this console is in certain areas extremely good. So let's just talk about the ports and the actual build first. The console is a really nice size. It's very small. It's got this nice sort of shine gloss finish to it. It feels solid, there's no rattle. It's a really nice unit. On the back we have a headphone jack, we have a power jack, HDMI port, we have a micro SD card port for if you need more memory on there. We have a Ethernet cable for wired internet. This can also do wireless internet too, so anywhere in the house, you know, you're going to be fine. And it has a 3.0 and a 2.0 USB input. Now the thing is here, it's a bit stupid, but one of the USB inputs is always going to be used because it'll have the dongle for the controller in, the Catz controller. So really you have one USB port on here. Okay, so what are the promising features about this? The controller initially seemed like a really cool idea. The controller acts as a DVD controller, a gamepad, and everything you'd need all in one. It has three modes on here. You have sort of a controller mode, as you would expect, so you navigate around the console with your thumbsticks, and it kind of jumps between icons and such. You have a mouse mode, which gives you a cursor. You move the cursor around with your thumbstick, you select with A and so on, and that is the recommended and the best way in my experience to move around the tablet when not in games. And then you also have a desktop mode, which I'm not entirely sure what that is, I never use it, but there's that as well. The controller is a really nice build. It feels solid, it's got a good weight to it, it takes two AAA batteries, and if you've ever used an Xbox 360 controller, it feels just like that. The thumbsticks are slightly different feeling, but it's really responsive and it works really well. This is one of the best areas about this console is the controller and the build quality of the controller. Now, saying that, not a lot of games will run very well, if at all, using this controller, because the problem with the Android market is, yes, it's huge, but every developer has a slightly different idea of how the controller should work, and so you don't always get the best experience when using a controller. Now with this console, obviously you can stream, and this is one of the areas where it excels in. Obviously on Android you can have Netflix, you can have Amazon Video, you can have well, in Britain you can have 4OD, you can have Channel 5, you can have all of those things, BBC iPlayer. Obviously you'll have different streaming services where you live, but if your phone on Android can run it, then this can run it. Now this is actually running Android 4.2.2, I think, so bear that in mind when considering the compatibility, but most apps will work like that, and it's actually a really fast, very easy to use console when it comes to streaming. Netflix is a lot faster. It's actually a lot faster to go through onto Netflix with this console than it is on my smart TV downstairs. So that's just something to bear in mind. Streaming on this is actually really good. That's including YouTube as well. Now another area where this excels at, and luckily for me this is a big part of this console and getting it, is emulators. On an Android you can get an emulator for PlayStations, for M.O.J.O, for Game Boy Advance, for the classic Game Boy, for the N64, for the Dreamcast, and so on. This can download, and for the ones I've tested, seems to run them all very well. I've played Mario Kart 64, I've played Ocarina of Time, I've got PlayStation 1 emulators running, I've got Dreamcast emulators running, and this works really well for that. And the controller as well works really well. So if you're into the emulators, if you're wanting something like that so you can play all your emulators on your big screen, then this is actually not a bad choice. Just bear in mind the flaws that it has. Now, one of the cool things about this is that it has Booyah support. Now, if you don't know what Booyah support is, or what Booyah is, it's a kickstarted console that was kickstarted a while back. It didn't do particularly well. It's a bit of a flop in general. And at first glance you may think that doesn't really add a lot to the console, but despite the Booyah marketplace being quite small and quite limited, every game will run with a controller, because that's kind of what the Booyah was meant to be. The Booyah was an Android home console where it had its own marketplace with its own developers developing games specifically for the Booyah, not for smart controls, not for touch controls, but for controller support. And so when you go into the Booyah marketplace, despite there being very limited amounts of titles and despite having to pay for a lot of them, you will get sort of a game that is guaranteed to work fairly well with a controller. As well as that, you can try demo versions of many of the titles on there before you make a commitment and purchase. So overall, how do I feel about this console? Well, I'm still undecided yet. Can I recommend this console? Yes. However, let's just sum up exactly what this console is. If you're looking to play all the 3D beautiful games you can on your Android phone or tablet and you want them on your big screen, this is not the way to do it. In my opinion, this is definitely not the way to do it. It's too unpredictable, there's too many compatibility errors, and in general, this console has not been made to a high enough level for that to really work properly. For example, this console, a lot of the time, it doesn't need to be rooted, but you can root it, and even the developers know that that needs to happen. And so if you root the device, your warranty is still valid. So that is a good point to remember, is that when you get this console, root it. It's really, really simple to root it. There's videos online and whatever. Root it and your warranty is still valid and perfectly fine. So, you know, it's things like that where the developers have allowed you to do things because they've realized that they've kind of fallen short of a few areas. It's very bizarre. But like I say, if that's what you're wanting to do, if you're wanting to play the latest 3D best titles but on your screen, do not buy it for that purpose. If you want emulators, if you want a box that can stream, then this could be for you. The good thing about this as well is because it's HDMI, you can capture your game, and the footage that you've seen of the device in this video has been captured actually with the capture card that I used a while back in an earlier video. But that's kind of where this console is at. Great for emulators, great for streaming, great for browsing the web, great for doing things like that. But if you're wanting it to be just compatible with everything in the Google Play Marketplace, all the latest 3D titles, it's not gonna happen, I'm afraid. And yeah. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. You'll have to make the call on it. The thing is as well is this is not cheap. I bought this on a flash sale at £50, but usually I think it's 70, and I think some places ask for 120. If you're paying any more than 50 quid for this, it is not worth it. Let me just say that right now. It is not worth more than £50. Do not spend more than £50. £70 maybe, because the build quality is actually very, very good. But just be cautious of that and do your research as to what's going to work and what isn't. So there we go, guys. That's the video for the M.O.J.O. I tried to keep this short. I tried to keep this concise. I know I ramble a lot, so I apologise if that's been the case in this video. I'm also training myself not to look over here and to look at the camera. So hopefully that's all well and good. Hopefully the audio quality is good. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this video useful at all, and I will see you in the next one.